What is up? Back, Dave the Confused. Thank you so much for joining my channel once again. Today we have a very different topic. So I'll tell you how I got started on this. Obviously, because we're human, we have Disney Plus, right? And my wife and I were thinking of what movies we wanted to watch on Disney Plus, and she's a huge Disney cartoon classic fan. So one of her favorite movies is The Princess and the Frog, based out of Louisiana. So we were like, yeah, we'll take a watch. And the main villain in it is a practicer of voodoo. And I've always known that voodoo, or as some people see it as more of like a separate category of black magic, is widely used in Louisiana, or still believed in Louisiana. So this kind of inspired me to kind of do a little bit of research and possibly make another video regarding voodoo and maybe spread some light and education on such a dark, twisted part of just magic and belief. And I was actually really blown away by some of the things that I found out, and there's a lot of actually positive things that do come out of voodoo, but there are definitely negative and dark and creepy aspects to this form of, lack of a better way, dark magic. So let's get into it a little bit, and I can kind of explain some of the things that I found. One of the biggest surprises that I discovered about voodoo is that voodoo is not always used to be negative. There are a lot of positive aspects within the belief of voodoo. Now, in West Africa, Louisiana, Jamaica, Haiti, voodoo is still an active religion. It's not just a source of this evil energy, it's actually somewhat of a beautiful religion. The practitioners of voodoo use the prayer to the voodoo gods and spirits to actually help them in their life. Someone who believes in the religion of voodoo would pray to a god or a spirit essentially to cure an illness, or even to help with financial situations, or to help fix a car. And voodoo has a belief system that there is one essential big god and hundreds of spirits that help people communicate to the god through the spirits. I think from what I've seen, one of the biggest differences about voodoo opposed to other religions, say like Christianity, is Christianity, if you're in need of something and you're praying and you're asking for help or forgiveness or something, you pray to the Lord in such a way like, give me your guidance, forgive me, I will, go to church, I'll be good, I'll be away from sin. Voodoo works a little differently. When you pray to a voodoo god and ask them for something, they could essentially grant it to you if you are worthy, but everything comes with a price. That's one of the biggest things about voodoo, is that essentially nothing is free. So you may get what you needed, what you prayed for, but there will come a time where a spirit will come to you and tell you something you need to do. And it could be something simple, it could be something easy, or not so much. That's kind of where you see this evil use of voodoo, where usually in a time of great need, a practitioner of voodoo would come to you and say, hey, I have the answer for you. I know what I'm doing and I can help you. But you don't necessarily realize the price that you may be paying. A great example of this is in the movie The Princess and the Frog. In the beginning, you see the villain, the voodoo papa something. He comes across a man who's interested in a woman, but he's afraid she won't notice him because he's bald. So the voodoo man takes his money and gives him this, crazy concoction that he grows hair instantly and he looks great. But then he essentially starts to grow hair all over his body and becomes this werewolf-looking creature. That could be essentially sometimes how voodoo works if it's not done properly. Modern media has given voodoo a really dark, persona with, it's essentially North America. When I say voodoo, you automatically think completely negative, black magic, sacrifices, blood. But there are different things about voodoo that really aren't that bad. Voodoo, it's like the practice of voodoo involves a lot of dancing, a lot of music, a lot of burning of old negative things in your life, and you want to get rid of them, and you're offering them to the spirits saying, I don't want this in my life, I don't need this in my life. So you burn it, and the smoke it goes up in smoke, and the smoke is taken by the spirits, and it's out of your life. Well, at least you hope so. Now, also the practitioners of voodoo burn a lot of things in order to create a communication wave to the spirits in order to talk to their god. And this is done in a lot of different ways, and to a person that doesn't know what to look for, this could seem very eerie and creepy and dark. Sometimes a voodoo practitioner will burn incense and leaves and oils and sometimes the blood of animals. And as they burn it, smoke will rise and they will see spirits within the smoke and communicate with them. It also helps them even communicate sometimes with the dead. Because in the readings, sometimes these spirits are based off of humans that have passed away, but they were so significant in the art of voodoo and the religion and the faith that they become spirits themselves. And they now become the gateway from human to God. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of freaky, dark things about voodoo magic and what it is capable of if you truly believe. There are practitioners of voodoo that never go to the hospital or never go to the doctors because they believe they can heal themselves and others with just voodoo. The crazy thing is sometimes it works. There's been documented cases that illnesses that require huge amounts of medication, such as antibiotics and steroids, are cured. Sometimes with no evidence of any medication being in the system of the patient other than them saying they used voodoo or somebody used voodoo on them. But sometimes in order to heal someone, that voodoo practitioner has to pay a price. And sometimes that price can be in the way of a financial thing. Sometimes that price can be in the name of physical harm to themselves or even physical harm to one of their family members. Now, I don't want to come off as in this is something super, super negative and you need to watch out for this, you need to stay away from it. It's a religion, it's a faith. And I think if you're interested, you should go take a look. But be prepared, like almost every religion, you may not like everything that you see. There may be things about this belief system that does not sit well with you. I think one of the craziest parts of voodoo is a very high up voodoo practitioner can sometimes tell the future, like a psychic. But essentially they leave it in the hands of the spirit. They usually take bones from smaller animals or little talisman or dice, and they put it in a special cup, and they'll shake the cup, and then eventually they'll throw the bones and talisman onto the table. And where it lands and how it lands determines essentially your future. And it takes great skill and education in the art and religion of voodoo in order to read the bones. And I know you've all heard of them, and you've probably seen little remnants of them, voodoo dolls. Voodoo dolls are essentially talisman or little creations to ward off negative energy and negative spirits. And they have been used for essentially sometimes the wrong reasons. These dolls are known to affect people's lives that the doll is based off of. For example, if I had a doll of someone that I hated, like a high school bully, and I had a piece of their hair or some blood or spit, that creates a pathway, a connection from my doll to that person. And essentially what I may do with my doll could physically or mentally affect that person in their life. That is a lot of power for the wrong hands. Well, this has been my video about voodoo and some of the things that I learned, but I totally suggest you go and take a look at it. Go look it up. It's super interesting. It's not super scary, but it could give you a couple of reasons to stay up at night. It could. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. This is Dave the Confused. I'm Dave, still confused, and at least our dogs aren't werewolves.